Testing 1, 2, testing 1. What's good, you two? Yeah. So, as usual, on a weekend, I usually try to find the video. This time, I just tried to find one that was like under 15 minutes, something dealing with some Dynasty content to react to. And we found one. So I didn't look at this video yet. I just skimmed it and seen what players this guy decided to mention just to make sure that hey, you don't shock me. You don't throw me off. But I didn't look at the video, so I don't know anything like that he said, anything like that. So that means we reacting live together. Damn, let's see where I'm gonna position myself. Hopefully your boy don't be in the way. Position myself. So we got Bruce Matson's 12 mustache players you need before the NFL free agency 2025 Dynasty football. So I'm not subscribed to this dude, as you see. I've never seen his video. This is his first time coming up in my feed. I just searched Dynasty videos. So hey, if you're feeling what he's saying, definitely go check him out. Check his channel out or whatever. So let's get started. What you got to say to me, Bruce?
Today we're looking at the deep plays for Dynasty Fantasy Football. Those mustache players. Those guys you're making trades for, you're picking up. You might even have them rostered already, and you just need that confirmation bias. I got all the confirmation bias for you, so you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're looking at these players every day. We're looking at strategies every day, how to trade, how to win in Dynasty, of course, the rookie drafts. It's all right here. Click that button. Stop missing out, but we got to get to it. We got some players to look at. Tyler Lockett's hitting free agency, guys. He's hitting.
One thing I wanted to tell y'all, every player he mentions is definitely affordable, but it feels like he is digging at the bottom of the barrel. I can't wait to see him try to convince me to go get these players. And it does say stash, so I guess that means just hold. But I wonder, can he make an argument for me to go out and get any of these players? Because this is starting off rough right here. Tyler Lockett? Oh, my.
Hitting free agency, you can go anywhere. And the thing is, this is a good market for fringe wide receivers, older wide receivers, guys that are afterthoughts right now because the wide receiver class is not looking good. The NFL's starting to say that to us. Tutu Atwell just got signed, and we're going to watch some of these other wide receivers and how they get signed. That's going to give us a good feeling of what the NFL feels about this rookie wide receiver class. Tyler Lockett hitting the market. We're going to see where he goes. At wide receiver 124, there's a chance he goes to an okay location where he gets some opportunity. He's a guy that gets targets downfield, can be productive in fantasy. He got you 2 wide receiver 2 weeks, multiple double-digit performances, and then slow down. JSN got hot last year, and now it's JSN and nothing for the Seattle.
You looking at the numbers right now. Like, the only way, because last year it was 11.9 points to score, and everybody pretty much was off from this season. Like I got offers of Lockett, but I'm like no, but I don't know if I ever seen him starting. Maybe somebody was bold enough to start him after he gave him some points, but that man averaged 7.1 points a game. And last year, 11.7. So that first game, somebody made a mistake. I already know after that first game, 13.7, that's usual. Somebody decided to start that man, and then he gave him 3.5. Then he gave them three. And so I cannot own any shares of Tyler Lockett. I don't own any shares of him. I sold him years ago for the lowest price. Get off my team. Get off my team, sir. Only thing I can tell you, maybe in underdog best ball, you can draft him like if he going like the last round or something. But to own him in Dynasty, no, sir. Can't agree with that. And you're not going to convince me.
Seahawks and their wide receiver depth chart. If they trade DK Metcalf, that's a different story. But Tyler Lockett's on the move. Where will he go? There's some options here in the NFL. He's reliable. He can get downfield. Still got some burst. Good route runner. And he's a guy that's an afterthought right now. 32 years old. He's for win now teams, and I think we all know that. A stash play just in case. And if he gets a bump up, you could really sell him if you want. Trey Lance, wide receiver 128. Just because they're
Look, I'm sure I still have some Burks shares somewhere. And if someone drop him, I'll pick him up. But like, what if you wanted to go out and buy Burks? I don't even know what he would call it, because maybe if someone drafted him, maybe they might throw him away for a fourth. But if somebody picked him off a waiver wire, they probably think he is worth a fourth and probably won't trade him. I'm guessing maybe Burks might be a free agent after this season. But my God, like, what a waste of talent. Like, I remember I was so high on Burks when he came out. I thought he was like the Derrick Henry version of a wide receiver. But I also knew he needed to be used a certain way. It's people, you can't just drop them in any situation and expect them to be a wide receiver. They need to be manufactured touches. And that's exactly what I talked about with Golden. I talked about with certain people, like, you can't just drop him out and be like, get open. That can't happen. Why are you drafting this man and you know that wasn't his game? If you want to draft a get open guy, go get you a guy that has a high route per yards run that separates with ease on different routes. If you're just going to drop him in that kind of situation, don't get you a yak monster that needs to get the ball but is not a route running savant and just expect him to get open. What are we doing? Get this man the ball. Reverse arounds, short dump off. Just get this man the ball. Like, Titans pissed me off with this pick.
Listed doesn't mean I agree with the player. I just look at so many stash plays on the channel that I want to talk about all of them, just in case you want to, or just in case you have them and you want to figure out when to sell or whatever. But we got to look at everybody. That's how that works. We got to look at everybody throughout the offseason. Treylon Burks, 128, former first-round pick, has shown some signs of life in training camp last year, but it never materialized. We have older wide receivers in front of them. The team's very ambiguous. So the story that would have to happen was we get through training camp, we get in season, we get a little spark, and that's due to attrition. What's the likelihood of that happening? Not very good. Not very good, but we got some size-adjusted athleticism. We do get a spark in every training camp. I can definitely say that. I'm the guy to ask about training camp. I roll out the training camp clips. I talk about the news because I try to find the news so I have something to talk about when I'm looking at the clips with you guys. He has a spark every training camp. If he's on my roster, I'm either looking to cut bait to make move for a rookie, which a lot of people is going to.
I don't even know what stats this man's showing right now. What is this? Because ain't never in his life, I think, that man ever scored that many points. I don't think so. Let me go look at this thing. In 2000, maybe in 2002, because I see he averaged 8.6 points. Maybe that's when he scored that. In 2023, he averaged 3.6 points. 2024, 1.5 points. With this trend, he's going to be averaging negative negative 1 point with how this trend going. My God. My God, my God. He played the first 6 games and didn't play a lick of ball after that. Man, if this man have any kind of skills, this man need to get into another situation. My God.
Do. Or if I can, get to training camp and see if I can do something. More likely not, but training camp, if you're looking to do something, that is the time. Rookie draft, no. Now, no. In season, maybe, but it has to take a lot of attrition and him firing. That being said, we have one wide receiver week to his name, one wide receiver 2 week, and that's since 2022. Maybe we fire with a different team. We do have a weak wide receiver class. That is a good thing for wide receivers like this. All in all, cheap prospect to have on the end of your bench. If you want to see what happens through training camp, Jake Bobo. So we're looking at the Seattle Seahawks here. And there's nobody left after JSN if DK Metcalf gets traded. We're looking at a weak wide receiver class. They're probably going to double tap the position in the draft. Maybe not. Maybe not. Jake Bobo here gets a lot of buzz in training camp. He looks good in training camp. They talk him up a lot, and they might be looking to use him. He's an incumbent. He's got a history with the team. They might be looking to use him a little bit. He's valued at wide receiver 144. Maybe sitting on the waiver wire, maybe not in your league, depending on how deep your league is. But if anything, you just pick him up off waivers, just see what happens, and then you release him. There's no loss. There's no sunk cost. I'm not paying for Jake Bobo. Nobody is. That's what the chart says. ADP says the same thing. They're in lockstep. Jake Bobo is a player that you see what happens. Is he going to be a wide receiver 1? No. Is he going to be a wide receiver 2? No. Is he even going to get an opportunity? I don't know, but he'll probably get a few good training camp highlights that might get some buzz where you can sell him for a little bit more than what you picked up off waivers for. That could potentially happen. He could sneak in some games here, getting some productivity. He could be getting more targets than expected. And next thing you know, he's valued as a top 100 wide receiver, and maybe you can play.
Bruh, this dude had me dying laughing. I don't know if y'all see my face when he brought up Jake Bobo's name. I was just like in disgust. I haven't heard Jake Bobo name since Cody Carpentier brought him up. Like, I remember Carpentier used to bring up like these deep players that can do something, like Jake Bobo, undrafted. Like, I'm looking at my original profile on him back in 2023. Undrafted. He got a nice size. 6'4", 206. Was 24.6 when he was drafted. But here's the kicker. The man ran a 5.04. My God, my God. And it's funny because I was looking for him. When I looked at his film before the comment, I said, he is not fast. What is his 40? I did see he got open, but I said he is not fast. What is his 40? That man ran a 5.04. That's like a lineman time. My God. And then he said, is he going to be a wide receiver 2? Nope. Is he going to be a wide receiver 3? Nope. What we doing? I can't. I'm not even willing to hold this man to even see if I make a profit. But I get what he's saying. It sounds strategic, you know. Wait to the what he said, wait to training camp, because this man always get active during training camp, and trade him. I don't know what you trading him for, but guess what? Even a 4th round pick would be a positive. I mean, that's more than you had before.
Flipping for a pick. Maybe that could happen. Maybe something can happen. Jake Bobo, another guy to look at. Joe Milton. This guy's got a nasty arm.
Look here. I'm going to let him do his thing. I'm gonna let us do a thing with Joe Milton. But when all of a sudden, during the off season, well, it happened like right after his last game, which I didn't pay attention to the last game of the Patriots. All of a sudden, I start hearing Joe Milton. I'm like, why are we talking about Joe Milton? Like, it blew my mind when I started hearing Joe Milton hype. Joe Milton? Joe Milton? And then I finally went and looked at the highlights of Week 18 game. And Joe Milton looked good. Joe Milton looked good. So I understand what y'all was hyped about now. I totally understand now. Joe Milton was playing better than I've ever seen that man play. And I watched him practice in person when I went down to Mobile during the Senior Bowl. When I say the most inaccurate quarterback I've ever seen, I don't know where this game came from. So I have to stand on what I seen and what I know of Joe Milton and tell you, don't believe the hype. Of course, if you have him on your team or you able to get him out the waiver wire, do so just because he got hype and you might can trade him. But as far as go and get him, this will not be a player I'll tell you to go get. Unless you have Drake May. If you have Drake May, sure. I mean, it benefits you to go get him. Have him as your backup. Maybe he might actually be good. There's a slim chance. But Joe Milton didn't earn any of my badge, of course. For a quarterback to even earn any badge when they don't get first round draft capital, it's almost impossible. Like, you got to be a rushing threat, and he's not even that. Like, I got a 9% rushing rate on him when my mark for a decent rushing rate is 13%. Like, he don't even hit that. So you trusting on his arm, and I don't like that. I don't want to trust on a man's arm. I seen miss all kind of targets, but yeah, I'm gonna let him cook. Let him cook. Convince me.
QB 37 in the rankings. We're not looking at a strong quarterback class, but I will say it's pretty peculiar quarterback class on the bottom end where we might catch another Brock Purdy in this class. You never name the Brock Purdy. It just got to come and manifest. But we might catch a Brock Purdy in this class. We have Joe Milton here, QB 37, strongest arm in the Wild West. A guy that's got some ability. Some people like him better than Drake May. Maybe they're not real people, but they're on TikTok.
Look, like you said, they can't be real. Because I did say he looked very good that game. But don't get it twisted. That was like a preseason game. The Bills wasn't trying to win that game. Josh Allen, I think, played the first series and went out the game. It wasn't a real game. There was no incentive for the Bills to win. If this would have been week 13, he would have got eaten alive. This wouldn't have happened, I guarantee you. If the game was on the line and they needed to win the game, bet you it wouldn't happen then. I watched the game. Most of the wide receivers, I did see one very nice throw like to the end zone. I mean, it was just, but a lot of them times he just was finding an open wide open wide receiver. Make me wonder if the Bills had their starters on defense out there. I mean, I'm just saying, right? Like, so let's not go that far. Don't forget the man that's a prospect. Don't forget the man didn't produce much in college. I mean, the man spent like six years in college. The man spent like 6 years of college. if I'm not mistaken. Let me go look at it. Let me go look at this. 'Cause I don't want to be mistaken. The man was in 2018. So 2018, 2019, nothing. 2020, he finally did something at Michigan. He switched and went to Tennessee the last 3 years, 2021, 2022, 2023. He only went over 1,000 yards in passing 2 seasons. He only went over 2,000 yards in passing the last season, and that was 28-13. He didn't even reach the mark I like to see of 3,000 yards. Boy, stop. That game, I would bet more so that game being a fluke.
But Joe Milton's a guy that could fetch offers down the line. He'll get some opportunity. And if you're deep enough on the bench, 2 QB, super flex, 1 QB even, might get some opportunity in season. If something happens to May, things happen to players in season as they get hurt and stuff. Kenny McIntosh. Seattle could draft another running back in this class. They're probably sick of the injuries. They'll probably bring in another running back. Kenny McIntosh was drafted pretty low in the draft. They drafted 2 running backs in that draft. Him and Charbonnet, after drafting Kenneth Walker in the second round the year prior, they still made it happen. They've always liked Kenny McIntosh, but it's also a different coaching regime than the regime that drafted him. Kenny McIntosh is good at catching the ball out of the backfield. He's absolutely nuked if they draft a running back. And this rookie class is pretty much going to nuke some of these fringe running backs. But he's so cheap, you just want to hold on just in case Seattle builds at other positions. And they might be building at other positions considering they don't have any wide receivers other than JSN. Luke Schoonmaker, we've talked about him a lot this offseason. You want Dallas Cowboys tight ends. They just put anybody out there at tight end, and they score fantasy points. He has 3 tight end 1 weeks. 3 tight end 1 weeks as a backup. If injuries happen, he steps.
Oh, he didn't stay long on Kenny McIntosh at all. I started to look at his numbers, and I'm like, Kenny McIntosh. Like, Kenny McIntosh. Unless it's important, I'll get back with you. Kenny McIntosh. I just had his profile up, but now I can't remember what year he came out. There you go. Yeah, so drafted 7th round. Just nothing impressive. He did have a 2022 best PFF wide receiving grade that year, but nothing impressive. What would make him like this man didn't stand out at all? What make him go that? He did have a high grade for Lance Erling did give him a high grade. I don't know what made him bring up. Is this man a Seattle fan? He brought up a couple Seattle players. Is Seattle fan? Luke Screwmaker, man. I got this man stashed in a lot of leagues just because of his draft capital. I don't think there's no real skill. I just got him drafted because of the draft capital. And he haven't shown me nothing, but let's see what he got to say.
In. If they decide to move on and they promote him, he's going to be productive. It does not matter. If they draft another tight end in the first.
Oh, yeah. Ferguson is supposed to be going to free agency. I'm not mad at this one. So go ahead and cook.
First 2 to 3 rounds, that might nuke him. Maybe not. They drafted him in the 2nd round. Has a good athletic profile from Michigan. Sound player. He fits the scheme of this team. And any tight end that's really starting, getting opportunity, will get the targets, especially with Dak. Tight end 40 range. Cheap. Luke McCaffrey. I don't like his profile coming out of college. They got Deebo Samuel, so that's going to make him even cheaper, maybe even more liquid on the market. But the Washington Commanders offense, that's firepower right there.
I agree on this. Now, the only thing about it that he is buried on the depth chart. Them getting Debo helped him get buried on the depth chart because Diami Brown has started to produce. Diami Brown started to produce, but Luke earned a couple of badges. And usually people that earn these badges, I will say they take a while to produce, but they'll show up. You know, he earned the potential alpha wide receiver badge. He earned the steady progress badge, but the badge he earned was the Blazer badge. Usually wide receiver with the Blazer badge usually produce sometime in their career. Like they become used, but they don't ever usually be stand out. They produce some kind of way out throughout their career. So if you can get him for cheap, like I never see him really dropped, because if he was ever dropped, I would pick him up. But if you can give him cheap, like a 4th round pick, which it shouldn't be hard to do that, it just lets you know you're going to be waiting. You might be waiting for a while for that to bear fruit. But if you got a deep roster, I don't mind him sitting, because 4th round picks is nothing but swings in the park. It's nothing but swings in the park. Like I was going to send a 4th round pick for Diami Brown to everybody in all my leagues until Debo got there. And I was like, ugh. Now I don't know. Like now I'm questioning it, and I probably should still send it, but I just got to bet on, is it Luke McCaffrey or Diami Brown who I should bet on. If Debo go play the slot, then it definitely should be Diami Brown. So yeah, so I'm not mad at him on this one at all.
Jane Daniels should only get better pushing the ball around. We're looking at Luke McCaffrey, who's still acclimating to the NFL game. Former quarterback, acclimating to wide receiver still, especially at a higher level. Maybe he takes a step forward in training camp, maybe not. I was not predicting him to do that. Maybe Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl, maybe that doofus was. But Luke McCaffrey is a guy to pay attention to. He's a guy to pay attention to as a cheap chip, and that's it. Low sunk cost, low entry point. Kayshon Boutte. The Patriots are getting another wide receiver one way or another, so this may kill his value, whatever value you want to call that. Whatever that is down below, whatever.
Now, Boutte show. Look, I've always I got a preference for what I'm saying, because when Boutte was coming out, I realized some kind of way he has some off the field issues, but as far as his film, like he did what you want a wide receiver to do, and I was like, ooh, that definitely caught my eyes. But then when he didn't get the draft capital he was supposed to get, I was out on him. But guess what I would do? Whenever someone drop him, I would pick him up, because I believed in the talent. So let's see what he gonna say.
Whatever you want to call that. But we were running 90% of the routes since week 8 going forward. We were the guy in the offense running all the routes. We weren't getting all the targets. We were getting a lot of targets. We weren't getting productive. That being said, Boutte might get another shot here with the Patriots to be on the field running a lot of routes. That could lead to fantasy production. And if they bring in another big wide receiver through the draft, which would have to be a first-round pick, or in free agency, and they keep him on the field, maybe he shines a little bit more. Maybe he has a little bit less focus on him, and he's allowed to do stuff on the field. Maybe he creates more separation, but they allowed him week after week run the most routes among wide receivers. 90% of the routes ran, sometimes 88%, sometimes something like that, but still, Kayshon Boutte. Darius Slayton, watching him in free agency, mid-wide receivers in free agency are going to be selected by some teams and might be getting some opportunity. But when I look at Darius Slayton, I'm looking at a guy with speed that can get downfield, that can catch the ball.
Isn't Darius Slayton on the old side now? Like, how old is Slayton now? Like, he is a deep threat. So for best ball, he's 28. For best ball, definitely a good late round pick. I don't know if I want him on my team unless he goes to a good offense. Like I need him in on a good offense for me to even think about it. But best ball, I can work with it.
Ball, get air yards, and get opportunity. So when I look at him, depending on where he goes, if he goes to a team, especially with a quarterback that goes yellow with it, could be a splash option, a guy that's very volatile in season, a guy that could help you out in some lineup decisions, a guy that you put in there, close your eyes, hope for the best. Stock wise, it's not going up much. It's not going up much. Jacob Cowling might see an
Not
increase in his
going up at
stock
all.
if they can get a deal done for Brandon Ayuk, which probably not going to happen. Damaged goods, just got a new deal. Interesting profile now that we had a pretty much most of the year off. Ricky Pearsall's there to zap up targets. We got Juwan Jennings there. Jacob Cowling on the back end of the roster. Why we like him? He broke out with 2 different collegiate programs. Age 18 breakout age. He just gets it done. Looked good in training camp. Is a wide receiver that could emerge. If he was in this year's class, I think a lot of people would be talking him up. I think he'd be building up a storm because he's a age 18 breakout, productive, a guy that can create separation, very nuanced. Brennan.
Uh, so Cowan, I did like him, and then he got drafted in the 4th round and buried on the depth chart in the 49ers. I mean, there's a slight chance that he can, work his way up, but it felt, isn't Purcell the person that's taking Debo place, and then you got Jennings that will produce while Ayuk out. I don't know if there's a role for much production from Cowan, but I mean, if you see him on a waiver wire, definitely I would put him on my team. You know, and if you believe, if you hear something in training camp, definitely send a 4th out if you have faith in him, because I like them as a prospect.
Brennan Rice. A lot of people liked him in last year's draft. Now he's free. Now he's on the Chargers. They're ambiguous at wide receiver a little bit. We got Ladd, Quentin Johnson, not everyone's sold on. A lot of rumors that they're going to bring in a free agent wide receiver or trade for DK Metcalf, or at least a lot of people wanting to. But if nothing happens at the wide receiver spot and Brendan Rice has a hot training camp, maybe you can catch some fire in a bottle, or maybe you can trade a wide receiver who's valued in the 100s for a wide receiver that's valued in the 80s in the future.
Look, I'm not touching no Brendan Rice. Brendan Rice, as far as I know, haven't done a damn thing. He got drafted in like the 7th round, haven't done a damn thing. I don't believe he'll ever do a damn thing. It just is what it is. It is what it is.
Sure, something like that. Maybe you get a 4th-round pick, 3rd-round pick, or something like that. The stock has tanked, but if you want to stash, you do you. But those are some stash options right now. Let me know who you're stashing in the comments below. Free agency is coming. Get prepared. Hit that subscribe button so you're ready. I want to thank you for watching.
Yeah, so there you go. Let me know what y'all thought about his stashes. Um, it's not. It wasn't that thought provoking for me. Well, I got this. wasn't wasn't really nothing that stood out for me. But I see he was looking at a lot of 2024 players that might do something. And if I was looking at 2024, looking like in a lot of drafts, and I doubt he cheap in Dynasty, but I've been involved in these Dynasty startups and underdog, nobody wants Marshawn Lord. Like they pretty much throw, if you some kind of way you can get Marshawn Lord for the Packers for cheap, that's the way to go. Jalen Wright also. Um, I liked Will Shipley, but I don't know. Like Eagles weird. Like they've been keeping Gainwell around for a while, so I don't know how much they like. I always pick up Vaki, Sanan Vaki from the Lions, which is a running back. Just because of that offense. But he hasn't done a lick. But I used to just pick him up on deep dynasty rosters. Like I'm in a lot of safe safe leagues, and I wouldn't touch him on no 25-man roster. Rashid Ali, if you just see him thrown out there, pick him up. I'm still a fan of Dylan Lobb. I still throw him on when I see him hit the waiver wire. Now I wouldn't trade for him, but I always throw him on my bench if he hit the waiver wire. Let's see. Man, Jermaine Burton. If I can't be mad if if you go pay for if you're able to pay for a 4th-round pick for him, go get him. But man, it might be a wasted 4th-round pick, but you have upside with that 4th-round pick because that man a knucklehead. If I seen Javon Baker sitting on waiver wire, I would grab him. If I seen Malik Wallace, why am I keep missing Malik Washington from the Dolphins sitting on the waiver wire, I would grab him. I really like this guy. I would even be willing to pay a 4th to get him on my team. If I had like a super late 4th, because all you gonna be doing is banking on a no-name running back by the 4th round. I mean, it's your choice. Your choice. Have I totally given up on Johnny Wilson? If I seen him on a waiver wire, I'll pick him up. So I wouldn't ever trade for him. But I've seen him on a waiver wire, I definitely pick him up. And that's about it. I mean, undrafted wise, there's nothing. Undrafted wise, I would go after. I have like damn near every share of Jalen Coker and all the leagues I'm in because I just thought it was a crime that he was not drafted. That was just crazy to me. It was crazy. Cade Cover. Let me go look at his yards for route run. I always pick up Cover whenever I get a chance, but I haven't looked at his profile in a while, and my internet is acting slow. So, or is the website, but I think it's my internet. So I'll just. Oh, there you go. It was the website acting stupid. Let me go look at his yards for route run before I even say what was it in college? Let's see, my boy. Yeah. So I would still pick him up. Not giving up on him yet. Anyone else? And Jaheim Bell, if he drop, pick him. Oh, this another guy sitting on the waiver wire. Might not ever be nothing. But work a pickup if you in the deep league, any deep league. Devin Cope. He was drafted to the Bucks. He's a tight end. Ran the fastest 40 at the combine for tight ends. And earned my steady progress badge. He should be picked up in every deep dynasty league. So that's all I got for you guys. Peace.